Good afternoon. Good, happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. So, I want to take the time to just talk about, I guess, like relationships and just like, I guess, how, like, obviously people see different points of view when it comes to it all. Some people want more attention. Some people just want to be left alone. Some people just want to be contacted when they contact you. And that's the hardest part. It's one thing if you kind of have gotten to know them and you get that luxury to know exactly kind of what they stand for, what they do, versus, creating, hey, we're going to talk every day, and then just having that step backwards. And it's hard, especially when you aren't in their space and you don't get to figure out exactly what they do, what they don't, what they hate, what they want, type of thing. And obviously, you're two different people coming into one world. And that's, I think, what people keep forgetting in relationships and in talking to somebody. And I mean, I personally take talking to somebody very seriously. If I'm talking to them, like, I'm not talking to other people because it's important to me, you know? So, you know, when it comes to things like, communication is super key. And I can't say I've ever been great with communication. Like, it's something that I struggled with and that I work really hard upon. And I do. I work very, very hard on where I've gotten today with it all. But, I don't know if you don't share with me that you hate that I call you every day. Like, to me, like, if you just blow up and get upset with me, like, I don't know exactly where that's coming from. And it's even harder when you're, over 2,000 miles away from somebody. So, I mean, talking is super, super key. Where it kind of leaves me is like, I like talking to my person every day. I want to know how their day is. I want to know how they're feeling and kind of going from there. Yeah, some of it's the same conversation over and over again. But you know what? It's both of you guys can change that. If you want to ask questions, you don't want to talk a whole lot. Like, you can do that all. But, like, I do. I don't care whether it's for 5 minutes, but I just want some time. Something that shows me that, like, I am special because I don't know what you're doing necessarily throughout the whole day. Not that you don't trust them or not that, someone's being dishonest, but it's just a matter of, like, I don't know what you're fully doing all day. And that's okay. But, like, taking that 5 minutes, to just recognize that somebody's in your life and that somebody is special or someone is maybe worth, talking to every day. Like, for me, like, the person that I'm talking to is, always on my mind because it's somebody that I want. It's something that makes me personally feel happy, you know? Yeah, sure, maybe we argue, maybe it's not always happy, of course. But that's any relationship, whether you've known them for a day, whether you've known them for a few years. And a lot of arguing just is a matter of miscommunication. And that's really, really a huge, huge thing is miscommunication. Because if I say something and maybe I say it in a way that maybe you don't understand or vice versa, like, obviously everyone's first initial reaction is to attack. I don't know why. It's just kind of in our human DNA. Sorry, my hair is like wilding out. It's kind of annoying me. But, like, it's hard. Because it's like all I want to do is, like, be in the same state as you, be in the same fucking town as you, like, make sure that, you know, we are compatible on the levels that I personally think so. And then it just, like, that makes me question where page they're on, but it's just like, I don't know fully. And that's what's scary is, like, you don't know what page somebody's on. You can be on page a million and they could be on page one. And that can hurt a relationship as well. And I'm not trying to jump and do all this stuff, but it's hard. It's easier to jump forward and then try and take steps backwards versus just slowly progressing into those steps. And, communication is super, super key. And I don't know, like, that's just how I am. I like talking to who I'm with. I do. I love it. I don't care whether we talk about nothing or whether we talk about something in depth. I don't. I just, if you're not with them, like, that's the closest you can get to them. Like, why is that such an issue necessarily? But that's just my personal view. Other people think that, other people are being suffocating essentially, and it's too much for them. And it's not a matter of, like, not trusting them. It's not a matter of being a nuisance to them. It's not a matter of anything like that. It's just a matter of I enjoy talking to who I'm with. And they might not want to talk to the person every single day. And that is okay. But those are things that you do need to get on the same page about, because if I'm texting you even randomly throughout the day and you're only texting me, like, one wording and stuff like that, like, that's hard. Like, nobody wants to just be one worded. Nobody just wants to not feel important, you know? And that's what's the hardest thing, personally, for me at least, you know? Because when you know, you just know, you know? If someone's supposed to be it all, you know. But as soon as they start taking steps back, like, you do doubt yourself. You do doubt, am I good enough? Is it something that, just because I see fit, do they anymore? Is it something that they have? Is it something that they've done because you've said a certain thing? You know, type of thing. It's kind of like the, if someone says I love you phrase, like, you feel like you need to say it back to them. Even if maybe you don't fully love them. And it's just like, obviously don't say something that you're not ready for. Or that maybe you don't personally mean. Like, you mean it on a level, but not on the same level that the other person does. And talking to them and understanding that, okay, hey, like, you're in love with me and you really care about me and you want everything. And maybe the person on the same page, maybe they're not. But as I said, it all reverts right back to communication. You know, it is super important, and it is scary, you know, to put trust and hope into somebody that you still don't know. So that's where I'm at for my week. If you guys do relate, if you guys understand it all, or don't, or have questions, feel free and comment below. Always subscribe. Sorry, this video is a little more heavy than I wanted it to be, just because right now I'm trying to make moves forward and okay, but I don't know. Conversation kind of really opened up my eyes, and I never meant to overstep or be a nuisance or do anything, because I would never, like, I don't want my person to ever feel like I'm doing too much or that I've, you know, gone too far in a certain direction that maybe they're not at. And, you know, like, that is important to me, because I don't want to argue. I don't want to fight. I don't want to take those 5 minutes that maybe I get every so often and just throw them on the drain, you know. I want to be able to get those 5 minutes. I want you to call me on breaks, or, you know, 15 minutes, you know, on your way home, or whatever it is. Like, just taking that step out of that day, you know. Like, I can't physically be there, and if I could, oh my god, I'd be there in a heartbeat, you know. And it's like, there are things that I want to do that I don't know if I can, and I don't want to be like, can I don't know, like, send you flowers, or can I do this, or can I do that? Because it's like, just because I might not think it's overstepping, you might, you know. And that's, I think, the hardest part is, like, you know, everybody's so different in how they feel, but you don't know where the other person's at. So just don't attack other people, you know. Be mindful of what it is, but communicate, you know. The worst thing is you guys communicate and you guys get on the same page. The worst thing. Yeah, maybe you won't feel the best in the world, but at least being on the same page, you're not guessing anymore. You know, like, you're respecting what they personally want, and they're respecting maybe how you feel, because, again, it is two people from two very different backgrounds. No matter, even if you guys grow up parallel together, you guys are still going to take out different outcomes. Everybody will. Everyone's going to have different views on one thing or another, and that's just life, and that's okay. Have your own opinions. Don't be uniform. That's boring. But also understand that somebody else's mind is very different. Speak yours, but also respect theirs. Also listen to what they're saying as well. Just because you think that it's common sense does not make it common sense for somebody else. You know, just because you dumbify something down doesn't mean that it's dumbified down, point blank. But I know I've kind of gone on and on, but just be respectful of other people's, you know, thoughts and process of everything, you know. Understand that it's okay to not agree. That's life, you know. You're not going to agree with your person every single minute, you know. But if something's there, if something's special, don't ever let that go, you know. Like, try with everything you have, you know. Be super honest and have them understand where you're at and understand where they're at. And then you guys can progress together versus one progressing in one direction, one progressing in the other direction, and never necessarily meeting back up. I'm not saying you won't. Sometimes you will. But just understanding that everyone has different views, and that's perfectly fine. But just don't forget to listen to theirs. Because not everybody means harm by one thing or another. You know? And I feel like we're in an attacking world, you know? Everyone's jumping down one person's throat versus being like, okay, so you thought this. Why? Okay, you're into this. What makes you into that? Versus being like, oh God, I hate that. Oh man, this person's here. Oh man, like how this. It's like, we don't need that, you know? Like, that's not what the world's necessarily about. Like, just communicate. Be open, you know? Talk with your loved ones, whether it's a partner, family, friends, whatever it is. Just be honest with it all. Be open. Be understanding that just because it's how you feel doesn't mean that that's how they feel. Understand that, you know? Understand that you guys won't always agree and you guys won't always see eye to eye. But as long as you guys are both putting in effort and you guys are both trying and understanding each other and truly understanding, not just saying, yeah, you know, in one ear, out the other. Don't do that. Truly listen. Truly respect what they are saying. And yes, some things will take a minute to change. Some things, if I'm texting you all the time or I'm doing one thing or another, doesn't mean I'm going to stop in like 2 seconds. It means, okay, I respect that. I'm going to start doing my best. You know, same thing with if somebody else is doing one thing or another. Talk to them. Understand why maybe they're doing it. Understanding what their reasoning behind it is. You know, maybe it's a malicious reason. Maybe it's not. You know, maybe it's just something that they're used to. Something that they personally want because maybe they just don't feel as loved as they're showing it. Or maybe they just aren't confident or whatever it is. Like, you don't know what's like underlying the surface of people's behaviors, you know? But, yeah. Now I've talked for 11 minutes of it all. So, I'm going to shut up. But, just listen, talk to each other, fully communicate. Doesn't matter whether it's a relationship, friendship, families. Just listen. Understand why somebody's doing something that maybe it has nothing to do with you, you know? Maybe their boss yelled at them all day at work and they snapped because you made some comment that their boss and you're like, ooh, yikes. It doesn't mean that they're a shitty person. It doesn't mean that that's what they're going to be like forever. It just means that they had a minute, you know, that they need something or that they just need you to just be there for them as well. But you don't know what someone else is fully going through, and it's just a matter of fully communicating, talking, and fully trying. That's the one thing that I can promise. I've never looked back and said, I wish I, you know, didn't try, you know, I wish I tried harder for something. Like, that's important to me, is doing my best to make something successful. If it doesn't, but at least I can look back and say, I did everything in my power to make it a better situation, to make it a better circumstance. It might not have been the best outcome. It might have been a shitty start, but it doesn't matter because I still tried. I listened, and I tried to make things better in my own way, and talking to them and trying to make it all. Nothing's just one-sided, and that's the hard part, you know, is taking two people and putting your lives together. It's the hardest thing of life. Nobody tells you that, but the emotional part, nobody tells you how to fully heal, you know, wounds and sores that are internal and that are just there. Sure, you know, you scrape your hand, you get a cut on your knee, you're taught to wash out, you know, your knee and put a Band-Aid on it to cover it up, you know. You're taught to ride a bike, you know, you're taught these things versus, like, no one ever looks at you and says, hey, you feel unloved because of XYZ, and you seek it, or you're whatever it is, or, you know, you're, you know, aggressive because of this. Like, maybe just because in their household growing up, like, that's all they did, you know, and they're just used to it, and, like, for them it's nothing. But for somebody who's never dealt with it, it's like the end of the world. It's like, you don't know. So understanding people's backgrounds, environments, understanding that it's okay, that you guys are two different people, but just understand and respect their point of views and respect your own as well. But if you're going to try and come together with anybody and be a part of somebody's life, understand that it will never be easy, no matter what it is. But just be truthful, be open. Just when you do speak, always keep them in mind as well. Understand that whatever they say back might not always be the best as well. Or maybe that they might tell you how they truly felt about something. Understand that that's okay. They're trying to open up to you as well. Just open up 100% with everybody you're with. And, you know, people will be supportive. People will understand more than you think. It's hard, yes. But I promise it goes a long way. Anyways, enjoy your Wednesday. I'm going to try and post a little bit more this week, but I don't know if I can. But I do hope people take this a little as insightful. If so, if not, I'm sorry. It's just been a heavy week. Otherwise, comment, subscribe, and I will see you guys at least next week if I don't post more. Bye.